What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today I'm going to be discussing from 1986 Star Trek IV The Voyage Home, starring William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley, James Doohan, George Takei, Walter Cohen, Nichelle Nichols, and Catherine Hicks. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And like I said at the intro there, we're going to be discussing today's Star Trek IV The Voyage Home. Now, this is the final film in our little 3-film arc here in the greater Star Trek saga. Of course, it all began with the Wrath of Khan, with the death of Spock and the Genesis device and everything. Star Trek III, the search for Spock and the Genesis planet. And it finishes up here with Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. This whole little 3-film mini trilogy within the greater saga. This film was dedicated to the memory of the Challenger, the spaceship who had exploded basically just after takeoff back in January of '86. I'm going to throw that graphic up at the very end of the show, so be on the lookout for that. But other than that, let's get into it here, shall we? Captain's log, star date 202122.5. It's the year 2286, and an enormous probe is moving through space, sending an indecipherable signal and disabling the power of every ship it passes. As it takes up orbit around the Earth, its signal disables the global power grid, generating planetary storms and creating catastrophic sun-blocking cloud cover. Starfleet Command sends out a planetary distress call and warns all spacefaring vessels to stay away from Earth. Back on the planet of Vulcan, the former officers of the late USS Enterprise are living in exile. Accompanied by Spock, who is still recovering from his resurrection, they take the captured Klingon bird of prey, which they have renamed the Bounty, and return to Earth to face trial for their actions. Lieutenant Savick, who was played by Kirstie Alley in The Wrath of Khan, and Robin Curtis, both here and in The Search for Spock, decides to stay behind on planet Vulcan. As the Bounty heads towards Earth, they receive Starfleet's warning, and Spock determines that the probe's signal matches the song of humpback whales, which are now extinct, and the probe will continue to wreak its havoc until its call is answered. So the crew uses their ship to travel back in time via a slingshot maneuver around the sun, and plans to return with a whale to answer the signal. They arrive in 1986, and the crew finds their ship's power has been drained by the time travel maneuver. They hide the Bounty in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park by using the ship's cloaking device, and the crew splits into teams in order to accomplish several different tasks. Kirk and Spock attempt to locate humpback whales. Scotty, Bones, and Sulu construct a tank in order to hold the whales so they can transport them back to the 23rd century. And Uhura and Chekhov are tasked to find a nuclear reactor in order to collect energy to repower the Klingon vessel. Kirk and Spock discover a pair of whales at the Sausalito Aquarium in the care of Dr. Gillian Taylor, who tells them that they will soon be released into the wild. Kirk tells Dr. Taylor of their mission and requests the tracking frequency of the whales, but she refuses to cooperate. Meanwhile, Scotty, Bones, and Sulu trade the formula of transparent aluminum for the materials needed for the whale tank. Uhura and Chekhov are able to locate a nuclear-powered ship, ironically, the Enterprise aircraft carrier. They collect the power they need, but are discovered aboard the ship, and Uhura is able to beam out, but Chekhov is captured and as a result is severely injured in an escape attempt. Dr. Taylor learns that the whales have been released early, and she didn't even get to say goodbye to them. So she goes to Kirk for assistance. Gillian, Kirk, and McCoy go and they rescue Chekhov from a nearby hospital and return to the now recharged Bounty. After saving the whales from whalers and transporting them aboard the ship, the crew returns with Dr. Taylor to their own time. And as they approach Earth, the Bounty loses power due to the alien probe. And they end up crash landing into the San Francisco Bay. Once released, the whales respond to the probe's signal, causing the object to reverse its effect on Earth and return to the depths of space. For their role in saving the planet, all charges against the Enterprise crew are dropped, except for one charge against Admiral Kirk for disobeying a superior officer. As a result, Kirk is demoted back to the rank of captain and returned to the command of a starship. Kirk and Gillian part ways as she has been assigned to a science vessel by Starfleet Command. The crew arrives at and then departs on their ship, the newly christened USS Enterprise, and departs upon a shakedown mission. So we come to another even-numbered film, the ones that are supposed to be the best ones in the series. This one, I love this one. This one, out of the four I've seen, I hold on the same level as the original motion picture. I really like that for a science fiction fantasy film, they came from the future back to modern day. And granted, I'm watching this film 35 years later again. So it's far from modern day by today's standards, but it came out in 1986, and the film took place in 1986. So it was modern day for the time. Seeing the scene with Kirk and Spock on the bus, the trolley, whatever it was there in San Francisco, and the punker blaring his music, disturbing everybody, and Kirk and Spock trying to get him to turn it off, and he just refuses. And then Spock giving him the Vulcan neck pinch to just knock him out and make him obey, and the entire bus, trolley, all the other passengers applauding him. I think that is one of the funniest scenes in the whole film. You know, the fact that they found the Navy's USS Enterprise to take the nuclear power from. I think that's a nice little poetic twist of fate. I don't know if I realized that when I was younger and watching it, but I definitely picked up on it here and thought it was a nice little touch. And it was nice to see Spock kind of relearning things again. You know, the opening scenes on planet Vulcan, he's inside a cave and he's testing his mind by answering all these different questions that are being thrown at him and solving problems. But then he gets out there on Earth and he has to deal with his human side. And he has a hard time dealing with his human side because he's been on Vulcan now for all this time. The dichotomy of Bones and Spock is kind of back and prevalent here. The two of them taking pot shots at each other after just having the little two movie arc there where the two of them were getting along and seemed to fully respect each other. They've kind of transgressed back to where they were before Spock's death, where they're just kind of always having a battle of the wits with each other. I do like the fact that they gave Chekhov a little bit of a bigger part in this one and the last one. And likewise, Scotty and Sulu getting a little bit more to do here too. And it's not just so centrally focused on Kirk and Spock, even though those are the two main characters. But it's nice at this point, now that we're 4 movies in, to kind of see some of the other crew members getting a little bit of, meat to sink their teeth into here with the story. When it comes to my rating for this film, like I said, I put this up there with Star Trek The Motion Picture. Voyage Home gets 4 out of 5 stars for me. I really, really, really enjoyed this Star Trek film. And it's the first one of the evens that I really, really enjoyed. Again, maybe it's just me because I'm not a huge Trek fan, but I'm just kind of going into these and viewing them as an outsider who's just looking for a good film. And this, I feel, is a very good film. Make sure you guys get out there on the social medias. Try to get those hashtags trending for me. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios. Hashtag Renegades Reviews. Hashtag Renegade Returns. And, of course, the ever-popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade J.J. Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag Statboy Approved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Make sure you get out there. Do what that commercial just told you. Go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all your official merchandise of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, your Renegade J.J. Williams shirt, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, Statboy Sports Bar, hashtag Statboy Approved, hashtag Shenanigans. Get you your official merchandise for the Jeff Meacham Network. 3 different designs of the Jeff Meacham Network logo for you to choose from, along with Talk Wrestling, Meachamania, and so much more. Tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, when I will bring you yet another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. Make sure you tune in for the next chapter of the Star Trek saga, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. You're not going to want to miss out on that tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, and see what I have to say about the 5th installment of the Star Trek saga. To all my loyal fans out there watching the premiere, leaving your comments over here, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you. To all my loyal fans that watch this on demand, leaving your comments down here, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of my loyal fans who tune in day after day and support me in this venture. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in. I will see you guys next time, and live long and prosper.